Good afternoon, everybody. Big Mike back here with you once again, and coming to you with something a little different other than wrestling. We're going to take a look at the MCU. Now, it's not going to be a review. It's going to be a series I kind of started a while ago, before the Fantastic Four movies came out. It's characters I'd like to see make their MCU debut now post Secret Wars. Now, obviously, Secret Wars, it's more than likely going to be a reset for the MCU, so we're going to see some classic characters come back, like Tony Stark's Iron Man, Steve Rogers' Captain America, etc., etc. So these are some characters I'd like to see make their big screen or small screen debut. So, we got 10 of them. Let's get into it. Number 10, Rom the Space Knight. Now, in the comics, he doesn't play a really big part. There were toys before he was made into a comic. But I feel like Rom would be a very interesting dynamic with some of the other cosmic heroes and villains out there. Plus, I just want to see his city. Like, that planet of his is interesting. It's kind of like Coruscant on steroids. If you don't know Coruscant, it's the city planet from Star Wars, where the Jedi Order were and where Palpatine started his coup. So, yeah, I think Rom would be an interesting addition. Number 9, this is kind of cheating because it's an entire empire. It's the Shire Empire. If you don't know who these are like a bird cult, which is kind of weird to say. It's like humanoid bird hybrids that worship a death crystal. It's a little complicated. Their characters more associated with the X-Men, but I feel like the Shire could be a good, like, kind of mid-level boss before getting to the big main event. Plus, I mean, the Shire Imperial Royal Guard have some pretty heavy hitters, including Gladiator, who, again, I wouldn't mind having them make their debut. Number 8, Angelina. So, if you don't know who this is, originally in the comics, she was a Spawn character. If you don't know Spawn, he's the guy who got sent to hell and got sent back to Earth as, like, a hitman. That's the best way I can... It's pretty much Ghost Rider, but instead of, like, flames, he looks like Venom. He had a movie in the 90s, which is interesting. So Angelina has actually been retconned by Marvel into being Thor and Loki's secret sister from a realm that Odin tried to keep secret for whatever reason. I feel like she could be a nice little addition to the new Guardians of the Galaxy, if that's going forward with Rocket, Groot, Kraglin, although Kraglin's in the followed James Gunn to DC, which is very interesting. Adam Warlock and Genusville. I feel like she would be a nice addition to that squad. Or maybe she hunts Peter Quill in a solo series or something. I feel like either way, Angelina's dynamic with certain people could be interesting. Number 7, Null. If you don't know who Null is, he created the first symbiote. And it actually got into the hands of Gore the God Butcher. So I think that sword we saw him use was actually that symbiote. Now, obviously, Thor: Love and Thunder didn't lead to that, Noel did make a cameo in the last Venom movie, but it does seem like Sony is discontinuing that. So if Noel is available, he could be a fun, endgame level boss. Now, is he on the level of, like, Thanos? Probably not, but seeing Venom and Noel battle it out could be a whole lot of fun. Number 6, Black Cat. This is one of the only love interests from Peter Parker's Spider-Man that has yet to make their on-screen debut. We've had MJ a bunch of times, Mary Jane Watson, or MJ. And then we had Gwen Stacy, which, in the Amazing series, which we know how that ended. Broken neck. So I feel like the dynamic between Black Cat and Spider-Man, Peter Parker especially, could be something you can play off of. And yes, Black Cat is pretty much the Catwoman to Spider-Man's Batman. But again, I feel like that's a relationship I'd like to explore more in live action. Number 5, X-23. Now, do not hate me on this. As much as I love Logan and the OG Wolverine, I feel like instead of trying to fill Hugh Jackman's shoes with a, male variant, I think bringing in an X-23 for the future of the MCU could be a lot more interesting to the dynamic of the universe. Because, honestly, I think the MCU could use some fresh faces. And I'm going to say this, I kind of dig X-23's journey and dynamic with the rest of the universe over Logan's. Now, don't get me wrong, Logan is still interesting. And you could easily have him as like man in the chair for X-23. But I think the current X-23 could be interesting as the new Wolverine. Number 4, Viv Vision. If you don't know who this is, I don't blame you. She's relatively new. This is Vision's daughter that he built. He also built another wife and a son because he wanted a taste of suburbia, but the wife and son ended up getting slaughtered by bigots. Let's call them what they are. So Viv is the surviving member of the Vision family. And I feel like if we're going to get some young Avengers / champions, I feel like Viv Vision would fit right into that dynamic. And, we could still get some Vision action in the MCU. Number 3, Onslaught. Onslaught is a very undynamic character, but it's like the combination of the powers of Magneto and Charles Xavier gone haywire. And, I feel like this could be, an end-level maybe not an end-level threat, but at least an X-Men level threat, other than Apocalypse. And I feel like, with the dynamic between Charles Xavier and Magneto, the coming together of this character could maybe shift some things around somehow. I don't know. I just want to see Onslaught. The way, they did Galactus and Fantastic Four, I feel like they could do the same thing for Onslaught. So number 2, this is kind of cheating, but I have a list of spider people here that I'd like to see in the MCU. Number First on that list is Silk. If you don't know who Silk is, she got bit by the same spider Peter Parker did. But instead of going out and being a hero using her powers, she was locked in a room away from everyone else until Peter found her. And honestly, I feel like a dynamic like that could be a little fun. And obviously another potential love interest, which honestly Peter has a lot of those, which is kind of interesting. Again on this list is Miles Morales, who was already teased kind of in Spider-Man Homecoming, where you saw Childish Gambino's character, who, I forget the name of him, but he's the Prowler in the comics. And he mentioned, I have a nephew at home waiting for this ice cream. That nephew is Miles. So, canonically, Miles is in the universe, but he's yet to have an actor attached to his name. Now, a lot of people thought, during the time skip, we'll see Miles in, one of Peter's classes. That hasn't happened yet. And even as a pretty much straight-up white guy, I would like to see Miles. So now this next one is a little bit odd because it does involve the Spider-Verse. So I have on this list Ghost Spider. If you don't know who that is a variant of Gwen Stacy, who got bit by the radioactive spider instead of Peter. So she got the spider powers. Her name for a while was Spider Gwen, but now that she's in the main universe, at least I think she is, she has been going by Ghost Spider. So obviously, I don't think Gwen exists in the MCU yet. So having this character might be a little jarring. So, I don't know. Maybe we'll see Gwen Stacy in this upcoming Spider-Man movie. And then we'll see Ghost Spider somewhere down the line. My last Spider person, I think, is the most interesting. It is a part of the probably worst story in comics history, where Peter gets cloned. The clone thinks he's the real Spider-Man. That's where the meme came from. But eventually the real Peter Parker identified himself and sent Ben Reilly, got his own name, which is pretty cool, out into the world. He comes back as the Scarlet Spider, who, honestly, that suit is absolutely amazing. And I do wish Ben Reilly was included in some more comics. But having him in the MCU, I feel like could be a bit more fun. Because, well, obviously you don't want a ton of Spider people. But having someone like Ben Reilly, who's a bit more extreme than Peter, I feel like could be an interesting dynamic between the two. And the last but not least, this is going to trigger some people, especially if you play Marvel Rivals, Jeff the Land Shark. Now, if you don't know who this is, he's a relatively new character. I'd say he got started in 2015. He is basically a shark who grew legs and can now survive on land. Which, honestly, that's hilarious. And he kind of acts like a dog. He's pretty much the new mascot for Marvel. And honestly, I'd like to see him on the big screen or the small screen. He has been known to associate himself with a few young Avengers, including Kate Bishop. If you don't know who that is, that's the new Hawkeye. So I feel like with her interactions with Pizza Dog, it could be similar with Jeff the Land Shark. And to everyone, all the Marvel Rivals players that I just triggered, I apologize. But I'd like to see him in the universe. And Kevin Feige, whoever's in charge of Marvel, I'm available to do the voice. Just saying. I can do it. So, that'll do it for me. That is some other characters I'd like to see make their debut post-Secret Wars. Let me know in the comments who you'd like to see make their debut in the MCU post-Secret Wars. Thanks for watching. Regularly scheduled content will be back come Monday. Till next time, Excelsior. Peace.